Hello and welcome to the OK Takes podcast. I am Matt, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow capo, Edward. As of 8:55 p.m. West Coast time, Dodger season is done, and now it's officially football podcasting season. So we're going to be doing podcasts at the end of the Thursday night game and previewing our bets for the weekend, and then after Sunday night football, and then going over the games that we bet on. So what a way to start Thursday night football game of the season between the Packers and Cardinals. These teams had a combined 13-1 record heading in, and they gave us very dumb, very good Thursday night football.
Yeah, I mean, this was what you expect from like the Dolphins and the Giants. This is not what you expect from probably the two best teams in the NFC, if not even the two best teams in just all of football.
No, I mean, this is what you see from the Jaguars and Titans. Anybody from our age, if you're between like 18 and 20, you grew up with very stupid Titans games where you're watching Matt Hasselbeck just throw picks and Maurice Jones-Drew run it in a couple times. And you're like, okay, well, that was fun.
Exactly. It's all just a bunch of fun. It's like when the bottom feeders of the Big 12 with no defense head to head, like Texas Tech and TCU, like, it's going to be like 4 interceptions from each team, but it's going to end up being like a 45-42 final score. And it will have been the most entertaining game of the day.
Compare it to Thursday night football of last week between the Browns and Broncos. That was an absolute snooze fest. It was like attending church. Like last week was like attending church. And then this week was like getting to play football in the parking lot after.
Exactly.
I'm saying church for audience, but I was a Jew. So it's a little bit different.
I mean, as long as you played football in the parking lot after, it doesn't really matter what you were.
Exactly. Just hanging out with the homies. But I mean, kind of perfect that the church game is not associated with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, absolutely. That worked out really well.
That did. I wasn't planning that.
Good.
Okay, so let's start with the game. Now, looking back, the Packers won, but I can't imagine how many, it was kind of a funny way of who could shoot themselves in the foot more.
Exactly. That's kind of what it boggles down to. I mean, you have the Packers on one end with half a yard to go to end the game, put it away, put Arizona to bed, and they literally can't even punch it in from a half a yard away like 4 times. They had like 3 or 4 times to do that, and they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then Arizona comes back, marching down the field. Like Kyler Murray was surgical, and then AJ Green turned his controller off, and that's what happened. The pick.
Let's go back to the Packers not being able to bust it in from literally the half-yard line. It looks like Aaron Jones scores. Nope. Okay, so now we have 4, but he gets the first down. Now we have 4. You have 4 downs. Now, literally while I was taking just some quick notes during the game, I'm like, I love how the Packers have just adopted the Wisconsin way of life. They're like, you know what? We share the same state as you, so we might as well just copy your brand of football. Because throughout the whole game, they had AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones just running and bumbling and tumbling just motherfuckers over and over and over. And then AJ, you don't give the ball to AJ Dillon. He's on the you're on the half-yard line.
Yeah, some questionable calls there. And then they go with a shotgun play on 4th down that obviously ends up getting batted down, and they turned it over. But yeah, it was like Aaron Rodgers had a really nice run when it was 3rd and 5 after the delay of game call. He had a good run to get him back to the half-yard line, and then they go from the shotgun on 4th down. Like, I know they won, but like, what was Matt LaFleur thinking there?
Look, I think this is Aaron Rodgers not being tough enough. I think he's developed the look of the funny, classy guy from NorCal. And now he's just kind of become too soft for football. I think that's the take I'm going to run with, that you had the option to have tough, gritty Big Ten football, just huge fucking neck pads that go up beyond the side, like above your head. But nope, you decided to get too cutesy with it.
I was waiting for the Drew Brees leap. Like, I was waiting for Aaron Rodgers to just leap, stretch over the line, and take it himself. And he never did. So I think I fully agree. He is not man enough for football.
Mhm. Now, I'm not going to say that the State Farm commercials are getting to his head, but if he was promoting a grittier product, then I think he would have ran that thing in by himself.
Oh yeah, he should be promoting like beef jerky.
Yes, if he was out there on the hunt for the Sam Squanch, then he runs that motherfucker in.
Absolutely.
Holy shit. But the fact that you don't have AJ Dillon running in, I mean, Quadzilla. I don't know if you've really seen, like, there's some pictures of AJ Dillon that I've seen. I'm like, okay, well, if this whole football thing doesn't work out, he could just go win Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. It was just really questionable. When you have a duo, a running back duo of that caliber, like you're on the half-yard line, like why don't you just run it?
Yeah,
give AJ Dillon a chance. Aaron Jones clearly wasn't getting it in, so give AJ Dillon a chance.
This is why you need fat, ugly coaches. This is why you need a Mike McCarthy. This is why you need an Andy Reid.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
They're getting too cute. If Matt LaFleur had the same BMI of Mike McCarthy, then yeah, he knows what to do. He will definitely have Aaron sneak that ball in.
Mike McCarthy runs the football all 4 downs. He doesn't try a little shotgun pass on 4th and goal.
And then also just talk about the Packers just not knowing what to do. It's insane that they actually had to delay the game. And before that, they wasted 2 timeouts, or it might have been all 3 timeouts, and when they weren't able to get people lined up. Like one of the first timeouts came with, I think, 2 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, something like that. And it's just, how does Aaron Rodgers, like, he needs to know to get the ball off. Like,
yeah.
In that situation, the last thing you can do is take a penalty like that.
Yeah. Very strange. Very strange. Okay. But then we're talking like and I'm sure if there's Packers fans listening, they're like, well, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Why are you guys shitting on the Packers? You're just doing it because it's fun, but they won the game, but technically they lost.
Yeah.
So I think this should just be a tie.
This game deserved to end in a tie. I wholeheartedly agree. No team deserved to win this game.
And now let's kind of now we have to do our part and shit on the Cardinals because they deserve to be shitted on too.
Oh, absolutely. This was
the Odell Beckham game.
Absolutely. This was bad from Arizona. And I know we'll get to there was some other stuff that happened earlier on where they could have won the game.
Yeah.
But that last play, like, what was AJ Green doing?
That was so bizarre. And is it time to end the goal line fade?
Yes, it is.
I feel like I say that every single time when I'm watching, because even when I'm watching him, to be like, oh, you know, he's so sick, a goal line fade. I think I've seen 2 work out in my entire life.
The only people that should be getting goal line fades are tight ends.
Yes.
There should never be a goal line fade thrown to like Henry Ruggs or like any type of wide receiver or Cooper Kupp. They should be thrown to Darren Waller or Travis Kelce or Tyler Higbee. They should not be thrown to receivers like that.
If you can't outbench a linebacker, then you're not allowed to have a fade thrown your way.
No chance.
Yes, that was so bizarre. But then I also have a take on Kyler because he was boring the entire game, but then he ended up with a lot more yards. Like if it was kind of weird because they got the ball on the 9-yard line and they were driving and I think they were within the 10. So Kyler racked up like 90 pass yards on one drive. So it made his day look a lot better. But I have a take that I think it's also better that he's a short quarterback because on that drive, there was a really, really bad snap and Kyler recovered it and he recovered it faster than I've ever seen any quarterback recover a football. And I think it's just because he's closer to the ground.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely why. That totally checks out.
Because if we know anything, quarterbacks and just football players in general hate recovering fumbles.
Cam Newton.
Yes.
Cam Newton in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. If Cam wasn't 6'4", 6'5", if he was 5'10" like Kyler, then he would have just like scrunched and then he would just hopped on the ball and just kind of gone into the fetal position with it.
That's all he has to do. Kyler, he doesn't have to, Cam's a big fella. It takes a lot of work for him to get down to the ball.
And then I just want to wrap up with Rondale Moore. What an awful game.
Yeah. This might go down as the Rondale Moore fingers game. Fingertips game.
Wow. I mean, because first we have the punt. And I was just a little bit, when you have a take and then you look at if other people are saying the take on Twitter, and then if they are, then you continue with it. But if nobody's talking about it, then you keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
I kind of had one of those because I was really mad about, because I had Colts money line last week and they ended up winning, which is great. But I was really pissed about the punt last week where it looked like Brandon Ayuk touched it and then it got fumbled and the Colts recovered it.
Mhm.
So now I'm very confused. I was like, well, how the fuck did that not count last week, but this one did?
Yeah, that's a tough spot. And, also knowing what we know now with Rondale Moore with the interception and stuff, it's like that poor guy, like he's probably going to get slandered all across Twitter.
Yeah, as he should. I mean, it's kind of fucked because the interception that they had to start the third quarter. Oh my God, what an awful, just in general, what an awful way to start the third quarter. First on the kick return, they got called for a holding penalty, so that pushes them back. And then on second down, Kyler takes a 10-yard sack, and then he has an errant throw that ricochets off of Rondale Moore's fingers into the Packers' hands. So, I mean, I felt bad because it was a really bad throw. Like there really was no way for him to catch it, but I think receivers I think he should have just patted it down like it was a Hail Mary.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes to show you that the Cardinals have a chance to win. They had chances to win this game and they just continued to shoot themselves in the foot. And it's not like we said, it's not like Kyler was having a great game. Going into that final drive, he had 185 yards and a QB rating of 70, and Hopkins had 2 for 60 tonight.
Well, he was hurt.
He did get hurt. That's right. Yeah, that's right. He did get hurt.
But it was kind of weird because towards the end, I think on that drive, he had a really nice catch.
Yeah, he came back out and for a little bit, I think. And yeah, I guess, but still, Kyler just wasn't himself tonight, but he was put in positions to win the game and they just couldn't.
Yeah. But what a Thursday night game. I don't know how the fuck I was able to snatch that under.
So, yeah, that was good. Skin of your teeth.
Yeah. If my cheeks appear to have the same hue as Bruce Arians, then that's why.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So now let's get to our picks. So Edward and I have 3 picks and we're just going to shoot the shit and that'll be the episode. And then we'll wrap that. That'll be where it ends. And then next week you'll get to hear whether we are feeling great and just as high as I am. Oh yeah. By the way, 4-game win streak right now. I'm hot.
Ooh,
very hot.
Ooh.
Very hot.
Love it.
Yeah. So let's get some good vibes. I have a lot of vibes. I have a lot of good vibes. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start.
Go for it. Yeah.
I'm going to start. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Okay. Colts versus Titans. Titans money line minus 105. Holy shit. Did Carson Wentz have a hilariously bad game against the 49ers?
Yeah. Carson Wentz is not the guy.
No, I mean, he clearly isn't, but I think he's good enough to just hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, and then that'll just be his role.
I mean, yeah, he is good enough to do that, I will say.
He's very good at giving handoffs. I don't think he had any missteps with that last week.
No, and I also don't know how much I buy the Titans. So this is going to be, I like that pick.
Mm-hmm. Well, because here's the thing. The Colts had a lot of success in last week, thanks again to Jonathan Taylor, who's been one of the best running backs this year. But it was a rain game. And so you're expecting to have a lot of rush yards in the rain game. So guys were dropping balls. We had the weird Brandon Ayuk thing mentioned earlier in the show. So it's a run game. But then it's flip it and it's like, okay, well, what if Derrick Henry was running against the 49ers? I think he would have ended up with 3 hundo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Jesus. And I mean, there is a question now that people are asking is he peaking too early? Because he's leading the league in rushes. In rushing yards. He has 869. The next closest guy is Jonathan Taylor, who he'll be facing this weekend with 579. But I was watching NFL Network this earlier today, and Tiki Barber mentioned that he's on pace for 463 carries.
Jesus Christ. He might run for 3,000.
It's funny. It's like, what's more likely, 500 carries or 3,000 yards?
Probably 500 carries is more likely.
Yeah.
But then again, if you get 500 carries, odds are you're going to have close to 3,000 yards. So, yeah, he's insane.
Yeah, and then just because we're starting the football season now, I've had the theory throughout this entire season that he's not on steroids like HGH, but he's on bone marrow steroids. So everybody's like, oh, how can he not get hurt? How can his body take this? How can his body take this? Bone marrow steroids.
That's
He's the strongest. He and Carson Wentz have the strongest bones in the NFL.
Carson Wentz, I don't know about that.
He doesn't get hurt. Or actually, that's not true. He broke both of his ankles week 1.
Yeah. I was going to say.
But yeah, no, confirmed Derrick Henry has the strongest bones, maybe in any athlete that's ever touched the ball.
Oh, yeah, easily.
All right, then what do you got?
I got Chargers money line. They're playing the Patriots, who have been inconsistent, mind you, all year long. Sometimes Mac Jones has looked really good and sometimes not. So it's really been an interesting experiment in New England this year. I mean, I just don't see it. I think right now Justin Herbert is the MVP winner, and I don't buy Belichick without Brady. That's what it comes to. Like, people have been like, oh, I think Mac Jones will be fine. I think the Patriots will be fine. Like, no, I think New England is the house that Brady built. And I don't, and I think this week the Chargers are going to expose them. People think, oh, they're 3-4. They might be all right. No.
Yeah, the Chargers are in a very weird spot because they got blown out against the Ravens, but then the Ravens laid a huge egg against the Bengals. And I think that's, how just like, for example, the Packers and Saints game from the beginning of the year, you're like, wait, how are the Pack? You're like, okay, well, the Packers are going to suck forever. I think and you throw that game out, obviously, because now they're 8-1. So, 7-1.
7-1,
yeah. 7-1. So now you look at the Chargers Ravens, you're like, okay, well, maybe we can throw out that the Chargers won't score double digits.
Yeah. And I mean, this is also a Chargers team where you could say, well, they walked into Kansas City and they beat the Chiefs, but look at the Chiefs right now. But I just think that the Chargers have that, and they have Justin Herbert, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I'm so high on Herbert right now.
It was a very bad game. Mike Williams speaking back on the Ravens, Mike Williams dropped a ton of balls. Especially there's a big one on 4th down and they went for it on their own 25-30 yard line.
Yeah.
So I like Brandon Staley. I think they're going to be fine. I just think this might be a game that'll make you want to tear your eyes out. I think my prediction for this is that it's going to be a very boring game.
Oh, it could be. It could be a very boring game. And there's going to be more Patriots fans at SoFi than Chargers fans.
Yeah, but actually, shout out. I love the Chargers fans. I love the big luchador fits. I love the big sombreros.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Chargers. I think they're cool, and
they know how
to
dress up.
Yeah, they do. They know how to dress up.
Yeah, if you're a Chargers fan, you have Halloween 8 days a year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so then that was Chargers money line, and then so my next pick: Eagles and Lions are playing under 48 -115. Now, if there is any QB game that will make you want to throw up this weekend, it's going to be this one, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'll be honest, I don't want to be too mean to Jalen Hurts, because if you look at his stats, he has done somewhat well. We have seen many quarterbacks get off to much worse starts. He's kind of middle of the pack as far as it goes, maybe even a little bit above average. But I just have a sense that it's going to be 65-35 with the ugliness. But Jalen Hurts, if it wasn't for the end of the fourth quarter, if it wasn't for garbage time, then he would be putting up very garbage stats. I mean, garbage stats from garbage time.
Yeah, and I actually think the Lions win. I think the Lions are going to outright win. But I do agree. I do think it's going to be an ugly game and not a great showing from quarterbacks. Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts. It might be bonkers like this game. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be bonkers, then it's just going to be really dumb fumbles. It's going to be like the Kyler fumble that we saw that he recovered, but instead it's Jared Goff stumbling over himself, DeAndre Swift stumbling over himself, and then it's going to be Penei Sewell just bobbling while Fletcher.
This game could produce the next butt fumble.
Yes. Or it could be like the fumble in the Louisiana Tech, Mississippi State game where it goes literally on the 3-yard line, or it's like, no, it's like on the 2-yard line, and then it ends up being 4th and goal from like the other 37.
Yeah, this is going to be an ugly one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then just in general, like my thing with going with the under here is mostly it's kind of on the Lions. I've had the Lions over a couple times this year and it lost both times. And Jared Goff is just awful in the red zone. Thank you for covering Jared Goff last week, but he threw another costly pick to end the game. And the Lions were very much in that game against the Rams. And then I will never forget what he did against the Bears, where he wasn't expecting a snap, bounced off his thigh pad into the Bears D-line, defensive lineman's arms for a pick. So you look at that play and that sticks with you. It's nearly as close to being traumatic that you're like, yeah, how could I ever pick an over with this guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also Dan Campbell ran out of all of his special teams trickery. There's literally nothing left in the bag for Dan Campbell to pull out.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled out all the stops to beat the Rams. And so now it's like, what else is left?
Literally, you just have to rely on your offense to score points, which isn't a very good idea for the Lions.
No, not at all.
You never want to make the Lions have to score. The Lions offense score points.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
All right, so now what's your second pick?
I got Rams against the spread. 14.5 is a big number, and that's probably going to scare a lot of people away. But especially after the performance the Rams had against the Lions, it wasn't perfect. But keep in mind, I'm sure Jared Goff had it in the back of his mind. Like, I want to go out and prove a point to my former team. I know he lost, but, he probably got the Lions hyped up. Like, I want to go out and I want us to perform against my former team. So I think it was a throwaway game.
Who are they playing?
They are playing the Texans. Texans are a dumpster fire. The whole Deshaun Watson situation. Davis Mills is their starting quarterback.
Don't be mean.
I think the Rams team we saw against Tampa Bay is more accurate than the Rams team we saw against the Lions. So I think the Rams come out and dominate from start to finish.
Yeah, the Rams had every right to lose that game, and then you just luck into Jared Goff pick. Jared Goff throwing it to not even your best corner, but one of the best corners to ever play the game.
Yeah.
And Jalen Ramsey. So yeah, you pretty much got lined up for the most perfect letdown moment in Lions history. Just another classic letdown for the Lions.
Another Detroit letdown.
Yeah, there is just a scrapbook of the huge the doink, the Justin Tucker doink from 66 yards out. And now you get to add that Jalen Ramsey pick.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Yeah. All right. So for my third and final pick, I'm taking Jags money line plus 145 against the Seahawks. I think the Jags are getting a little frisky. Not an Urban Meyer joke.
I was about to say, kind of like their coach.
Mm-hmm. Fuck it. And we're seeing that the Seahawks have a guy who might not be it. I don't think Geno Smith is going to be able to pick up for Russ quite the way we all thought he would, the way he played in the first game against the Rams on that crazy Thursday night game where the Seahawks, literally a Seahawk was attacking their own fans.
Yeah, I don't think, I think Seattle is in real jeopardy of missing the playoffs. I think Geno is going to dig them in too deep of a hole, and Russell is not going to be able to dig them out. And so I do think Jacksonville, this is a chance for them to get a big win.
Mm-hmm. And now Urban Meyer has finally come to the realization that all you have to do is just give James Robinson the ball.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
No, as soon as they started doing that in the second half against the Dolphins, then they started doing really well. So they kind of have the formula, and it takes a lot of pressure off of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do with a rookie QB, especially if you're a struggling franchise. Try to take as much pressure off of him as you can, and giving the ball to James Robinson is it's effective.
Mm-hmm. It's more, granted, it is fun to say that now the Jags are just playing against Urban and just united. Yeah, just saying that, fuck you, we're just going to be good and to spite you. It's a spite. They're just become a spite team.
Exactly. They're latte Larrys.
Yeah. But then also this is more just against the Seahawks. I really don't like how the Seahawks look every day. Even like throughout this episode, I've been thinking about like, when did the Seahawks play? When did the Seahawks play last week? It was the Monday night game, but that was the most talk about boring football. That was very mean for NFL to do us like that.
I didn't mind.
That's true, because you are the resident Saints fan of the podcast.
Yeah, so I didn't mind the Monday night game, but I guess that's a good segue into my next pick, which is Saints +6. Look, after what I saw from the run defense, which has been unbelievable, they've only allowed one 100-yard rusher in the last 2 years. So that is a real stat. Wow. The Saints run defense has allowed one 100-yard rusher in the last 2 seasons. And I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was the Raiders. I think Josh Jacobs might have ripped off 100-piece on them.
Was that the Monday night game?
Yeah, I think it was the Monday night game.
They lost that game.
Yeah, that's the only time in the last 2 seasons the Saints have allowed a 100-yard rusher. And I just think the defense as a whole is really good for the Saints this year. And the key to the game, and I know what you're going to say, the key to this game, can Jameis Winston be smart and not let revenge get to his head? Because I know he's going to come out and he's going to want to have a revenge game against Tampa. But if he can just settle down and let Kamara and now Mark Ingram take control of the game, the Saints can win.
Can I just mention that we had an all-time Jameis clip today?
Well, what was it? I think I missed it.
Oh my God. You have to watch it. I'll put it in. Okay, right here.
One of the best back tandems in the league, right? With Latavius and Alvin. I heard some Snickers, but excuse my language, right? One of the best tandems in the league, right? So.
Jameis confusing tandem for condom. Absolutely hilarious.
No way.
Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
That's awesome.
Because then we got throwbacks of him and Harbaugh grilling him in the pre-draft process, asking, "Are you a sex addict? Are you a sex addict? You like sex? Are you a sex addict?"
Oh, you a sex addiction? You got a problem with sex? You addicted to sex? A sex addiction or something?
No, sir.
Very funny. Very funny.
Is that clip better than the? What did he say? Talking about his coach? He just told us to be prepared.
It's up there. You know what? No, I think the confusing tandem and condom, because they're so far. And yes, I mean, they're only 2 sounds away from being identical, but still, the only way you say condom instead of tandem is if you're thinking of condoms before that, or if you're thinking about sex.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I gotta love Jameis, man.
It was a very horny Freudian slip. It was actually the greatest Freudian slip of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It was the most ideal Freudian slip.
Jameis he's a national treasure.
Oh, the best. The best. He's so funny. It's going to be a sad day when he goes.
I love Jameis.
Because who else? And that's the thing, is that if any other quarterback did that, it wouldn't be that funny.
No. No.
There's Jameis is like the friend that you describe to other people and you say like the random anecdotes you have. And then people are like, well, that's not very funny. But he's like, no, you have to be there to get it. Jameis is that guy. You have to understand Jameis to understand why it's hilarious that he flipped tandem for condom.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Yeah, he's a national treasure. Again, I'll just keep saying it. He's just amazing.
Love him. Okay. All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Perfect. I thought that was a very good episode for first football show of the year.
Yeah, I think that went well.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you would like to follow myself on Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at Matt120. If you'd like to follow Edward on Instagram and Twitter, you can find him at Edward_Vento. But if you have no care in the world for anything we have to say, besides my Traveler column that's coming out tomorrow, then please follow OK Takes on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OK Takes Pod. That is OKAY Takes Pod. OKAY Takes Pod. Takes 2 seconds and will help us tremendously. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and have a wonderful day.